So, we'll be looking into fundamental rights today, and it is one of the most important topic of the Indian polity. And I know I should have covered it before, but I'm doing it right now as I've already studied about it. And the fundamental rights are the spine of the Indian Constitution, and it is very important topic in the Indian polity section, and it is a basic portion of the syllabus. So, and it is very highly dynamic in the sense that it is featured in the daily news and in some other form, so it will definitely gonna come in exam. So let's look into fundamental rights. So part 3 of the Indian Constitution described about fundamental rights, and the fundamental rights are enshrined from Articles 12 to Article 35, and fundamental rights are derived from the Constitution of USA. And unlike the PSP, fundamental rights are justiciable. We have 6 fundamental rights, but at first we had 7 fundamental rights, one of which was right to property, which consists in Article 31, but it was removed by the 44th Constitutional Amendment Act of 1978, and it made a legal right under Article 300A in Part 12 of the Indian Constitution. And at present, there are only 6 fundamental rights. Let's see all the fundamental rights. Number 1, we have a right to equality, which comes under Article 14 to Article 18. Then we have right to freedom, which comes under Article 19 to 22. Then number 3, we have right against exploitation, which comes under Articles 23 to 24. Then number 4, we have right to freedom of religion. It comes under Articles 25 to 28. Then we have cultural and educational right under Article 29 to 30. And at last we have right to constitutional remedies under Article 32. And Article 33, 34, 35 consist of power of Parliament to modify the rights, then restriction on rights, and legislation to give effect of the provision of the part of a fundamental right. Now we'll be looking into all the fundamental rights and briefly discuss all the articles from 12 to 35. So number 1, a fundamental right is a right to equality, which consists articles from Article 14 to Article 18. So number 1 is Article 14. So Article 14 of the Indian Constitution states that states shall not deny to any person equality before the law or the equal protection of the laws within the territory of India. And this provision confers rights on all persons, whether they are citizens or foreigners. Then within this article we have the concept of equality before law. So it is an element of the concept of rule of law. So the Supreme Court says that the rule of law as embodied in Article 14 is a basic feature of the Constitution, and it cannot be destroyed even by an amendment. After that, we have Article 15, which deals with prohibition of discrimination on certain grounds. So it states that the state shall not discriminate against any citizen on grounds only of religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth. And the 2 crucial words in these provisions are discrimination and only. So the word discrimination here means to make an adverse distinction with regard to or to distinguish unfavorably from others. That means no citizen shall be subjected to any disability, liability, restriction or condition on grounds only of religion, race, caste, sex or place of birth. Then we have Article 16, which deals with equality of opportunity in public employment. So this article provides for equality of opportunity for all citizens in matters of employment or appointment to any office under the state. So no citizens can be discriminated against or be ineligible for any employment or office under the state on grounds of only religion, race, caste, sex, descent, place of birth or residence. Then we have Article 17, which consists of abolition of untouchability. So it forbids its practice in any form. The enforcement of any disability arising out of untouchability shall be an offence punishable in accordance with law. And this article is available against private individuals, and it is a constitutional obligation of the state to take necessary action to ensure that this right is not violated. After that, we have Article 19, that is right to freedom. And this article guarantees to all citizens the six rights, and these rights are: right to freedom of speech and expression; number 2, right to assemble peacefully and without arms; number 3 is right to form associations or unions or cooperative societies; number 4, right to move freely through the territory of India; number 5 is right to reside and settle in any part of the territory; and then right to practice any profession or to carry on any occupation, trade or business. But in the beginning, Article 19 contains 7 rights. One was right to acquire, hold and dispose of property, and it was deleted by the 44th Constitutional Amendment Act of 1978. And now these 6 rights are protected against only state action and not for private individuals, and these rights are available only to the citizens and to shareholders of a company and not to foreigners or legal persons like companies or corporations. Then come Article 20, which deals with protection in respect of conviction for offences. So this article grants protection against arbitrary and excessive punishment to an accused person, whether they're citizen or foreigner or legal person like a company or a corporation. And this article contains provisions related to no ex post facto law, then no double jeopardy, and then no self-incrimination. So here I'm just covering all the basic definitions of all the articles and lagging behind so many portions within this article. So I'll be covering some other videos. Then we have Article 21, which deals with protection of life and personal liberty. So this article says that no person shall be deprived of his life or personal liberty except according to procedure established by law. And we have 35 rights here as a part of Article 21. And this article is available only against arbitrary executive action and not from arbitrary legislative action. So it means that a state can deprive the right to life and personal liberty to a person based on a law. Then we have Article 21A, which deals with right to education, and it states that the state shall provide free and compulsory education to all the children of the age of 6 to 14 years in such a manner as the state may determine. And this provision makes only elementary education a fundamental right and not higher or professional education. And this provision was added by the 68th Constitutional Amendment Act of 2002. Then we have Article 22, which deals with protection against arrest and detention, and this article grants protection to persons who are arrested or detained. Then we have right against exploitation, and it consists of 2 articles, that are Article 23 and 24. So Article 23 deals with prohibition of traffic in human beings and forced labor. So this article prohibits traffic in human beings, beggar and other similar forms of forced labor. Then Article 24 deals with prohibition of employment of children in factories. So this article prohibits the employment of children below the age of 14 years in any factory, mine or other hazardous activities like construction work or railway. But it does not prohibit the employment in any harmless or innocent work. Then we have right to freedom of religion, which consists of from Article 25 to Article 28. So Article 25 deals with freedom of conscience and free profession, practice and propagation of religion. That means all persons are equally entitled to freedom of conscience and the right of freely profess, practice and propagate religion. Then Article 26 deals with freedom to manage religious affairs. That means every religious denomination or any of its sections shall have right to establish and maintain institution for religious and charitable purposes, then right to manage its own affairs in matters of religion, then right to own and acquire movable and immovable property, and then right to administer such property in accordance with law. So Article 25 guarantees rights of individuals, and on the other hand Article 26 guarantees rights of religious denominations. Then we have Article 27, which deals with freedom from taxation for promotion of a religion. So this article says that no person shall be compelled to pay any taxes for the promotion or maintenance of any particular religion or religious denomination. Then we have Article 28, which deals with freedom from attending religious instruction. So under Article 28, it says that no religious instruction shall be provided in any educational institution wholly maintained out of state funds. Then we have cultural and educational rights, which consist of Article 29 and Article 30. So Article 29 deals with protection of interest of minorities. So Article 29 says that any section of the citizen residing in any part of India having a distinct language, script or culture of its own shall have the right to conserve the same. Then it grants protection to both religious minorities as well as linguistic minorities, and this point is very important. After that, we have Article 30, which deals with right of minorities to establish and administer educational institution. Protection under Article 30 is confined only to minorities, whether religious or linguistic, and does not extend to any other section of the citizen. But this term, that is minority, has not been defined anywhere in the Constitution. So Article 30 says that all minorities shall have the right to establish and administer education institutions of their own choice. After that, we have Article 32. As I have already mentioned, Article 31 was removed from the Constitution and then added to Article 300A in Part 12. So, Article 32 of the Indian Constitution deals with rights to constitutional remedies. So, it confers the right to remedies for the enforcement of the fundamental right of an aggrieved citizen. So Article 32 is the most important article of the Constitution, as it deals with fundamental rights. Protected in itself is a fundamental right, and without this our Constitution would be null. And under this article, the Supreme Court can issue our writs that are habeas corpus, mandamus, prohibition, certiorari and quo warranto. After that, we have Article 33, which deals with armed forces and fundamental rights. So, Article 33 empowers the Parliament to restrict or abrogate the fundamental rights of the members of armed forces, paramilitary, police forces, intelligence agencies, and analogous forces. So, this article ensures the proper discharge of their duties and the maintenance of discipline among them. I would like to apologize that I like behind an important article, that is Article 18, which deals with abolition of titles. So here I am covering this article. Article 18 abolishes titles, and it has four provisions. Number one is it prohibits the state from conferring any title except it's a military or academic distinction on anybody, whether a citizen or a foreigner. And then this article prohibits a citizen of India from accepting any title from any foreign state. And then we have a foreigner holding any office of profit under the state cannot accept any title. And then we have no citizen or foreigner holding any office of profit under the state is to accept any present emolument or office from under any foreign state. They cannot accept it without the consent of the president. So I left behind, I don't know how could I forget that article. And then we have the last two articles, that is Article 34 and 35. So Article 34 deals with martial law and fundamental rights, and it provides for the restrictions on fundamental rights while martial law is in force in any area within the territory of India. So it empowers the Parliament to indemnify any government servant or any other person for any act done by him in connecting with the maintenance or restoration of order in any area where martial law was in force. After that, we have Article 35, which deals with legislation to give effects to the provisions of this part. So Article 35 says that the power to make laws to give effect to certain specified fundamental rights shall vest only in the Parliament and not in the state legislatures. And at last, we'll be dealing with two articles, that are Article 12 and Article 13, which are left behind. So Article 12 deals with definition of a state. So according to Article 12, a state includes government and parliament of India, government and legislature of states, and all local authorities like municipalities, panchayat, district boards, and all other authorities that are statutory or non-statutory authorities like LIC, ONGC, SAIL, etc. And then Article 13. So Article 13 deals with laws inconsistent with fundamental rights. So Article 13 says that all laws that are inconsistent with or in derogation of any of the fundamental rights shall be void. We can say that it expressively provides for the doctrine of judicial review. So here I just covered only the basic definitions of all the articles. That's all. Thank you.